Today, I've got a friend over in Northern Ireland from England, a guy called Andy Burgess. Andy's a filmmaker based in London. He is over in Northern Ireland shooting a documentary about the Northern Ireland Protocol. What's it called? It's got another name, something framework. Dormant Framework? What's the new name? Anyway, he's shooting a doc about that. And he said, are you about when I'm down shooting? Do you want to go hang out? I'm going to collect him and help him shoot this doc in somewhere. I mean, he's going to do it. I'm just going to fucking drive him about. Oh, also, I have to wear sunglasses today the whole day because my eyes are fucking sore. Bringing him some lenses and a tripod. The Windsor Framework. That's what it's called. I knew I'd remember it eventually. What's happening?
What's up?
How's you, man? He wanted to come to the falls. I'm his dedicated local tourist guide. I know some of it. You know, my mom's from here, so I learned bits of it when I was younger. And obviously just living in the country for 20 odd years. He's definitely picked a questionable local to be doing this job. For those people that aren't from here that are watching, this is one of the checkpoints you would have had back in the Troubles. People would have had to be checked when they're crossing between Loyalist side, the Shankill Road, and the Republican side, which is the Falls Road. We're on Copper Way. I don't think I've actually ever stood and looked at the peace lines for so long. They're pretty fucking high, aren't they? I think 20 meters or something. So the peace walls were built in 1969, permanently constructed. I didn't know though that they have been being built all the way up to 2017. Who knew? It was good. That was a good walk. I like that. That was casual. So what do you think of the peace lines?
They are insanely high. How they back onto people's houses is so bizarre.
It's a big
wall, and like when I look at it, I don't think peace, but yeah, it's dividing to cause very interesting place.
Yeah.
It's a huge example of how there is still a divide in Belfast.
Yeah.
People are still happy with this.
Yeah.
But there's, like, I love all the artwork and stuff that is put around. I've got a very good story for you about a drone.
Okay.
Maybe I should save it for that.
Yeah, save it for that. If you don't own a drone, you've never done the drone dance, which is...
I wanted to tell this story somewhere because I can't do it in a video. Long form is required.
Okay, no, that sounds good. We've just hidden behind the van here and he's going to throw the drone up over the peace lines. I said to him, it's fine. I told him to be discreet. I said, get the drone up out of the way really quickly. And he's fucking around with it now instead.
No GPS, come on.
Wandering around there with his ankles out in his jeans and his very, very broad English accent. And I was like, don't be wandering too far, fella. You're on the wrong side of the wall for that accent. Well, Andy's got a bunch of YouTube pages, but the one page he has is called FAULTLINE, isn't it? FAULTLINE, and it's basically well thought out documentaries. Multiple. There's no like topic to fault line, is it? It's just the documentaries about like the geographical.
So it's like looking at the human stories behind geography is the.
They're all really, really nice, really nicely done, really well put together, really thoughtful, which is the very opposite of everything I do on YouTube, which is never planned out, never thought. It's just bodged. So I'm interested to follow him around and see how he does it. Is there a trick? Is he making it up as he goes along? It's a little bit of both so far. We're in Derry. Take him, show him the wall. Let's go see the wall. Just basically just a journey of different walls in Northern Ireland. He also wants to stop people in the street and ask them how they feel about a united Ireland. So see how that goes down. We're looking down over Bogside and Andy's doing a couple of long pickup shots, just trying to zoom in on murals, features, flags, things like that. It's going to be interesting because part of what he wants to try to do is stop some people in the streets and ask them a few questions about things like Brexit and how that's affected you and what their thoughts are on a united Ireland and how. But it's a touchy subject to try and do without getting too political, because that's kind of not the goal either. The goal of his video he's trying to do is a hypothetical look at what would it be like if Northern Ireland joined Ireland as a whole. Like there were people everywhere on this bridge, and then we walked up, set the camera up, and everyone fucked off. That's what happens, you know. Put an Englishman on the Peace Bridge, and everyone leaves. How you found this so far in Derry Slough, Londonderry? Yeah, what are the people been like?
People have been nice actually. Who we spoke to, I feel much more at ease here. I don't know why.
Than where?
When we were up on that hill.
Oh right.
Yeah, one of those dudes in the hood with the ski mask.
Yeah, the two guys. We were standing up there earlier, and these two guys came walking past with their beanies up and ski masks up, like literally there. And I just looked at him. I was like, "Our cameras are going now. Back in the bags."
When you get and you're having this back and forth, people are feel quite good,
Yeah.
like to talk to. I feel like I could have probably asked him. Oh, this seems like a silly question, but like,
Yeah.
do you think what do you think people think about the two countries joining again?
Yeah.
He probably would be like, "Oh, fuck off, mate." This is for a YouTube channel that is all about gear, and look how I'm changing these lenses.
I like this.
Yes.
I like. There's some salt water out there that isn't on the
Just gotta
sensor.
get it done.
That's like the 5th time he's done it. I thought I was bad with changing lenses. He just opens the thing up and just leaves the sensor. The sensor's just sitting like this.
Two types of people who are really sensitive about their sensors. You have people that don't clean that lens.
How often do you clean it though?
Before every big shoot.
Ah, okay, fair enough.
There's somebody on YouTube, I can't remember who it is. I don't want to call him out. Well, I can't actually remember who it is. But their sensor is filthy, and you see it in every video.
Casey Neistat.
Yes!
Yes,
Yeah,
Casey
yeah,
Neistat
yeah,
sensor.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
always
it is.
got fucking speckles all over it.
I actually have to confess, I don't think I did it before this trip. But I have stuff in my bag.
Okay, there you go. So
But
everyone has freckles in this video. We
the
know
point,
why.
I mean, we're not in a very fast-paced place here right now. But I just want to get the shot, change camera. I don't have time to be being all sensitive about this.
Look at his rig setup. He's in a tripod, like a gorilla pod. We are down at the border in Calais, and he was like, "Show me the border," and I'm like, "It's not. It isn't. It's a soft border. There's not really much." And now there he is, crossing the border. Look at him. You know, fine Riley. He's doing that thing. I'm in the south. I'm in the north. South. North. I told you he was going to do that. Very good. So, you live around here then? Or you...
We'll see when you go to the other end of that wall, you're in the north.
Is that it?
Ireland, there was a soft border. So you can just travel across. Now the UK is no longer in the
The two of us, honest to fuck, right? We are standing in the middle of nowhere. This girl just appeared.
Oh yeah.
Where did she go? Just this girl in a pink hoodie with a Sony camera and a road bike, and she's just like, "Are you filming?" And I was like, "We are." Are you filming? Well, I don't know where the fuck she went as well. Like she just wandered off down the street somewhere. Like two guys in the middle of nowhere with cameras, and then this one random girl by herself, also with a camera. Proper GPSA, folks. Oh, hold on, doing the drone dance. Right, we're driving over the border while he's filming with the drone, and he's only got 9% battery in his phone. This is how David Attenborough makes documentaries as well. Same way. Land in hand, go.
Nah, fuck it. Like just in case.
I was trying to get him to land it in his hand, out of the window. By the way, just for anyone who cares, I got new wheels on my van. What do you think of them? 18-inch, like a graphite VW Sportlines. They're slicker, aren't they? The steel wheels were nice, but they were 16, so they were a little on the small side.
It's like a lot of borders in Europe.
Right, we're gonna go fucking back to Belfast. Andy's gone up to the room to just do his work, I guess, to send some files and some videos. He's staying in Ibis, which is actually quite nice downstairs. That even when you're a big shot documentary YouTuber, he still has to sit and answer client emails with changes. It's good. It's just good to know that that never ends. That even when you get to the point that you're shooting your own documentaries, that you are the person in charge, you are still sitting at 8 o'clock at night making amends and answering emails to these things. Sometimes it feels like it's just me.
Oh, but I did.
Just a couple of guys here having a romantic Indian meal.
Wonderful little dinner.
Tell you what's difficult. Asking people in Belfast to answer questions to the camera. Like, people are like, I have an opinion, but I'm not fucking saying on camera.
Try this family here. Like, I don't want kids,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like mums.
Yeah.
Like,
For the video, obviously.
yeah.
Generally, people, when you do get them talking, they do have opinions, and it's quite interesting. But it's very hard stopping people in the street and asking them a topic, especially when you throw that word Brexit in front of them. So you're trying to be very tasteful in how we do that.
Like yesterday, we had camera on a tripod in a locked area. When today, like that intimidates people. Like we just need small cameras. Walk up to people, already be recording. When they say okay, bring it up. Try and make it as less intrusive as possible.
What is going on? Walk out of Evergreen into a fucking hailstorm. Holy shit! There's so much hail on the back of my jumper.
Oh.
Brought Andy up to the top of Burnish viewpoint to look out over Newry, so that we can get up on top of this hill and you can see the big view of everything. And he was like, cool, I'll put the drone up. And I was like, you're on top of a mountain. And just as we're about to do it, that is coming in. Do you know what? If I was you, I would just give it a minute.
You reckon?
Look, it's a fucking snow cloud coming in.
You reckon it'll pass?
I imagine so, yeah. Based on absolutely nothing. Just a guy's opinion. The moorns are covered in snow. He's gonna give it a shot, he said.
It's like got snow on the lens. Maybe let's give it 5-10 minutes.
Not a bad idea. Doing the drone dance. Gearheads out there, the people that are interested. Andy's shooting on a Sony A7S III. He's using a 24-70 GM lens with what looks like an 8-stop 8-stop ND on it. He's also using, which I find quite interesting because I quite like the idea of this, Sony K3M onboard mic that plugs onto the top of the camera. You can see there, into the hot shoe. And what's nice about it is you've got an onboard mic and you've got 2 XLR points. So you can run the onboard mic plugged in. You can also run 2 lavs straight into the camera. If you know me, you know I have that fucking problem constantly. He is running a Sony AVX lav setup. So he's mic'd himself up the whole time. And then while he's talking to people on the street, so an onboard mic that's picking up their noises from their voice. That picks up their voice. And then he's got the lav picking up himself the whole time. On the side here, you can see all this little screen pops up and you can get in control of it all. Very nice. If you want to add 500 pounds to the top of your camera, it's decent. Having seen him use this now, I actually really quite like that. I can see the benefits to it. The only downside for me would be the fact that it's plugged into your hot shoe at the top, which is fine, but like where the camera I'm using, when I'm shooting client work for it, I have a top handle on a NATO rail, and then I have a monitor on top of the handle, and then I have a side handle, so I'd have to run that on the side grip on the small rig, and then run a cable from that back into the camera to compensate it not being plugged into the hot shoe. So there's, you know, fucking workarounds. We'll end up later on this evening in my studio. We're gonna rope him in to do the podcast, take him down to the port in Warren Point. And he stopped to film a sign, someone sprayed IRA, and he's wearing a black bomber jacket and he's got one earring in. I said to him, people are going to start thinking you sprayed that. I'm not sure Andy really understands how tripods work.
Oh yeah, I could totally just like, why am I holding this?
What is the most difficult bit about this part of the process when you're on the ground at this point?
It's like checking your hypothesis. Like, you have a hypothesis when you're starting the story, like, okay, this is what the story is going to be about. But then you can do as much research online and stuff, books, all that shit. But then it's actually like getting here and speaking to people, asking those questions and finding out, is that actually the case? Or if it's not, like finding alternative sides to it. And then taking all that information you've heard from all these different people and then trying to build the story.
How nailed is the script or story before you've left to come here?
Usually it is pretty loose. Like we have an idea of the structure. We kind of know what our argument is that we want to tell. But you have to have room for it to be open. That's why we do the script afterwards or like alongside it, because like so many things could change when you actually speak to people.
Okay.
So a rough idea, come here, get the sense of it, and then really tighten that up at the end.
It's quite interesting because Andy's been changing up the story, I guess, to an extent as they've been moving throughout the day, and he'll like touch base with his team back in England, and they'll run through ideas, maybe script updates, things that maybe he's picked up, learnt, or worked out here that they maybe didn't know before, and then they're tweaking and adjusting that script just to suit that as it goes, which is kind of cool. It's quite an adaptive way of working, and I guess when you're arriving at a place that maybe you aren't 100% familiar with, you have to be willing to change and adapt that stuff like that. That was speed, by the way.
Super quick.
Super speed. So we've stopped off at yet another border, all right? I'm laughing because I'm like, no one, he's like, why are you laughing at it? I said to him, just because no one really talks about it here. The only time you'd be chatting about the border is when you're telling someone on the phone that you've lost signal. He's like, I'm just crossing the border here. Let me just wait till O2 decides to change from O2 UK to O2 Ireland. It's been very interesting working with Andy on this. He reached out to me a few weeks back and said, look, I want to do this documentary in Northern Ireland. Could you help me with this? Really from like a logistical side, about getting around the country, knowing where to go, maybe people to talk to, locations, things like that. Have I been the best tour guide? That's probably very debatable. I'm surprised at how much information I was actually able to relay. The next question is how much of it was accurate. And then also coming at this from me, I'm a videographer and photographer, so I also know locations, angles, access points, where you can and cannot go, where you might have problems with security, you know, all those little things that a lot of people easily overlook. FAULTLINE is the company that produces these things. That's what the YouTube channel is called. But he like, it's a business and he employs people. Other human beings. He's responsible for other people. And the whole time while we've been doing this, he's been going back and forth between here and London, where his production team is. Got a project manager, he's got editors, he's got script writers, copywriters, that sort of stuff. So he's jumping back and forth and almost building the story as he goes. So that's been quite fascinating to watch, actually. I've made the bloody coffee now. Now I need to take it to him, but I can see him standing there filming. That's Northern Ireland, that's Ireland, I'm in the middle of it. Yes, we get it, Andy. Right? We get it, son. We're running across the fucking road now.
Do you think it's going down?
You happy with all that?
Yeah,
Good.
wrap. I was
Nice.
saying it's been like a crazy busy day, mainly standing on roads or speaking to people, but we got the golden hour shots. I think we're wrapped.
There you go. Nice.
Great 2 days.
Isn't that?
Northern